Lush, and I'm here in the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos. It's starting to snow here. I'm very pleased to be joined by Susan Athey, economist at Stanford Business School, top American economist under 40. We're here to talk a little bit about digital currencies. Tell me, first of all, tell me about Bitcoin, what your thoughts about it are.
Sure. Well, Bitcoin is a really exciting technology innovation. It's a new currency, and that sometimes distracts people. Economists never really want you to have a new currency because you're worried about exchange rate risk. You're worried that you don't know how much that Bitcoin is going to be worth tomorrow. But what's so special about it is it exists in a purely digital form. We haven't figured out how I can beam a dollar from me to you, but the definition of having a Bitcoin is that there's an entry on this big spreadsheet that says it's mine. And I have a password. And if I just enter my password, a new entry goes on that big spreadsheet that says it belongs to you. And that's it. That's the end of the transaction. The whole definition is that it's in the spreadsheet. And so what that means is I can move it instantly, I can move it around the world, I can move it to whoever I want without using any kind of middleman, intermediary, or bank.
How do you think it promotes financial inclusion?
Well, there's lots of parts of the world, and there are billions of people in the world who don't have any access to bank accounts, they don't have a way to save. So just imagine that you're in a high inflation country. Your money, if you hold on to cash, it's going to get less valuable day by day. If you're rich, you can find a way to get it out of the country. You can hold dollars or euros. You might buy a car. That's not going to depreciate. But if you're poor, you can't really have a good way to save. You might wear a gold necklace around your neck. You might stash $100 bills under your mattress. These are not great ways to save. So one thing that generally digital money can allow people to do is if they just have a mobile phone, they can access international financial markets. They could buy a Bitcoin. Once they have a Bitcoin, they could use that to buy anything else in the world. They could buy dollars, they could buy euros, and they could do all that without even having a bank account. It also helps some of the world's poorest people move money. Remittances can be quite expensive. If you're working 80 hours a week as a domestic helper in one country and trying to send money home to feed your children, you don't want hours of that work to go to fees. And so one thing that better and faster and cheaper international money movements can do is allow people to get their money home without paying a lot of fees.
Tell me about a couple of startups that have caught your eye that are using Bitcoin.
Well, so there are a lot of people entering the remittance space, people trying to allow international payments. So for example, if you're an e-commerce firm in the United States, you may not accept international credit cards. You might wonder why. Well, there's a high rate of fraud from international payments, and so you might actually lose your ability to accept credit card payments at all if you have too high a level of fraud. So you'll just say, forget it, I won't accept money. If somebody international, they just can't buy my goods. So if you accept Bitcoin using a startup like BitPay, which is allows people to use Bitcoin to pay and lets the merchants get paid in dollars or whatever their local currency is, you can let people from all over the world access your e-commerce site, because when you send a Bitcoin, it's done. There's no fraud, there's no chargeback, you've got the money right there, and so the merchant knows they've got their money. And the consumer says, well, okay, I don't have a chance to go complain to a credit card company if I don't like my product, but this is the only way I can buy this product, and so they're willing to take that risk.
Susan, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.